the green frog who said no. In the heart of a shimmering emerald green pond lived Polly. He was a small frog with skin the color of bright moss and eyes like big golden coins. But Polly was famous for more than his looks. He was the most mischievous frog in the reeds, always sticking his long pink tongue out at the passing dragonflies just for the fun of it. Whenever his mother, Mozzi, asked him to do something, Polly had a favorite word: no. If Mozzi asked him to hop left, he hopped right. If she asked him to stay in the cool shade, he would leap into the hot sun. He took great pride in doing the exact opposite of everything he was told, puffing out his chest with every stubborn no. Polly wasn't just stubborn with his mother. He was loud and difficult with his friends, too. When a quiet frog named Reed tried to sleep on a nearby stone, Polly would let out the loudest, spiciest croak he could manage. He didn't care if he was being mean, even when Reed had to cover his ears and hop away in frustration. Poor Mozzi spent many evenings sitting on her favorite log, watching the ripples in the water. She was worried and deeply sad. No matter how much she loved her son, she couldn't understand why he refused to listen. Her heart felt heavy, like a stone at the bottom of the pond, because Polly's constant no made the pond a very lonely place for her. One chilly morning, Mozzi could not get up. She lay weakly inside a hollow, moss-covered log. She had fallen very ill. When Polly hopped by and saw her looking so pale and tired, a strange, uneasy feeling tickled his tummy. For the first time, he didn't feel like playing a trick or shouting no. Polly stayed by his mother's side as the sun moved across the sky. He tried to act like he didn't care, looking at his toes and humming to himself, but his heart was racing. He watched her chest rise and fall slowly, secretly wishing he could hear her ask him to do something, anything, just so he could hear her voice again. Finally, Mozzi opened her eyes and called Polly closer. Her voice was as thin as a blade of grass. She knew Polly always did the opposite of what she said. "My dear Polly," she whispered, "I have one final wish. Please listen carefully, for I am going to a place where the sun always shines." Polly leaned in, listening seriously for the very first time in his life. Thinking of his safety, Mozzi made a plan. She wanted to be buried on the high, dry mountain where she would be safe from floods. But knowing Polly would do the opposite of whatever she asked, she whispered, "When I am gone, please bury me at the very edge of the river, right where the mud meets the rushing water." That night, Mozzi passed away peacefully, hoping her plan would work and that Polly would bury her on this safe mountain. But as Polly sat in the silence of the hollow log, he was overcome with a wave of deep, stinging regret. He remembered every no and every mean croak. He burst into tears, his golden eyes shimmering with wetness. "I have been a terrible son," Polly sobbed. "I will not say no anymore. I will honor her very last wish exactly as she asked, even if it breaks my heart." Determined to be good at last, Polly carefully carried his mother down to the muddy edge of the pond, right where the water lapped against the shore, and buried her there. Soon after, the clouds turned gray, and a heavy rain began to fall. The pond water began to rise, creeping closer and closer to the fresh mound of mud. Polly found a large, waxy lotus leaf and hid beneath it, trembling. He watched the raindrops splash into the river, terrified that his mother's grave would be washed away by the rising tide. Even today, whenever the clouds gather and the rain starts to fall, you can hear a sad, rhythmic croaking coming from the edge of the pond. It is Polly, calling out to the sky. He sits by the water, remembering his mother, and wishing he had listened to her sooner, his golden eyes watching the ripples until the sun comes out again.